Hello, everyone. Daniel Brown here, a solo edition of the Benchwarmers this week, a special week for the Benchwarmers. State championships in Louisiana, the LHSAA football state championships taking place in the Superdome. We have four teams from Northwest Louisiana: Haynesville, Calvary, North DeSoto, and Ruston. And the team leading us off, the noon game on Thursday, the Haynesville Golden Tornado facing Mangum. We are joined by Haynesville head coach David Franklin. Coach Franklin, first off, appreciate you taking the time to join us and talk with me on the Benchwarmers about your team being in the state championship. Busy schedule, I'm sure, for you. For the viewers at home, can you give them an inside peek of what you're dealing with, not only as a football head coach on the gridiron, but in your administrative role as well, to get Haynesville and everybody down there to the Big Easy?
Well, first of all, we're glad to be going back. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun trip, but there's a lot of planning that goes along with this. But just the practice time and playing a day early, and then early in the day a day early. It's just it's a lot. But it's a fun a lot, I guess you'd say. You're preparing for a state championship, and you got to do your best at everything. There's just a lot of playing to do, and we're fortunate to be playing a team that does a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of planning in that football itself. But just there's you got to get hotels, and it's like I tell my wife, it's like planning a vacation for 60 people, and that's just not always easy to do. Because you want everything to be right. You want your trip to be smooth, and you're trying to do everything that you can to give your team the best chance to win. But it's a fun time. It's a fun time, but it is very hectic. Especially on the coaches, and we have spent I can't tell you how many hours in the last few days preparing for this. But it's worth it. And then I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. That's for sure.
And your third straight trip to New Orleans, and you have that past experience, but you normally play on a Friday. Your game's on a Thursday at noon at that. So a day earlier and 7 hours, 7.5 hours earlier than your normal kickoff. How much of an adjustment is that for your players and coaches to try and squeeze some practice time in a shorter amount of time?
I think that's one of the biggest things with the Superdome is you have to make adjustments, and you're a little bit right now. You're a little bit out of your element. You're a lot out of your element when you're playing in there. But once you get in there and once you get going, it's all kind of a rush trip. They kind of get you in and get you out really get you in there really fast, and they try to get you out really fast after it's over with. But we want to slow it down. I always tell the kids to don't go through this fast. Don't make it fast. I mean, slow down and enjoy the time that you have there. But there is a lot of preparation that goes along with it for sure.
And the seniors on this 2025 team, they have 2 years prior experience in New Orleans, making the trip down there. How much have they used that past experience of being down there and going through the grind of a football season to get them to this point again?
We've got a really good senior class. The senior class that we have has been to the semifinals 4 years in a row, and this would make them going to the finals. Not 4 years, yeah, 4 year, all 4 years, and also they've been fortunate enough to play in the finals for the last 3 years. So, that's not many people can say that. The first year we went in 23, we played Oak Grove, and they were really good. Last year I thought we had an opportunity to win or chance to win, and we just didn't have a very good year last year. So I think the attitude is really good right now. We're playing a really good opponent, but but the kids are excited, and the seniors are excited. And this is what better way to play your last football game but in the Superdome, and you can't beat that. So our seniors are really excited. It's a really good group of seniors, not just them, but everybody's worked really hard for this. So we're looking forward to this weekend for sure.
And you talked about how Mangum can do a lot of things. What stands out the most from what they can do from an offensive and defensive standpoint?
Offensively they do a lot. They got a quarterback that runs the ball well. He throws the ball well. He just does a tremendous job running their offense. He's fast. He looks like a senior, but he's not. He's a sophomore, and he does a great job of running their offense. And I think there's three big parts to that. The other part is their running back. He's fast. He's not very big, but he hits holes very. Doesn't take him very much to hit a hole, and he's gone really fast. But then they got some receivers and some other guys that can go too. So they're just, I mean, their offense is really good. They do a lot of things. They make us have to do a lot of things on defense, and it makes it tough when you're trying to you got short preparation time, but then you've got to do all this stuff. When I first started coaching, you spend probably three fourths of your practice time on offensive stuff, and now you're spending three-fourths of your time on defensive stuff. But they're definitely good on defense. Also, they're just not as complex as they are on offense. So when you're offensively, you can just kind of you control what you do. So um, it's a little bit easier to prepare for offense than defense.
Yeah, so part of that preparation is, using past experiences and even your recent experiences. Is there any team on your schedule that you've played this year that kind of matches what Mangum does?
No, honestly, no. And I will say this: we've been watching Mangum for a long time. We thought that we were going to get to play them last year in the finals, and but then all year long, that's one of those teams that you're watching, and when you get a chance to watch some clips, you're watching them. So we've been watching them for a long time. I haven't quite got them figured out yet, though, but we've been watching them for a long time. We've been looking forward, to the opportunity to play them because I've been for the last 2 years, I've known that they're going to be at this game at some point.
And also wanted to have you on, Coach. From all the times if you've been down there in New Orleans as a coach, uh, being in Haynesville, what's your earliest memory of going down to New Orleans and specifically for the state championship experience?
Oh gosh. Well, I guess as a player in '83 was the first time that I got to go in, and of course that was, that's such an experience. I think my one of the things that my dad always wanted to do was he always wanted to be in the front, and I figured out why he wanted to do this. He always wanted to be a front and in the front of the line so he could be there and watch that look on everybody's face when they got to walk into that Superdome. It's a little different now, because back then you didn't know that much about the Superdome, but now there's with social media and stuff. And having played there, it's not the same now. But kids are still really excited to be there and to play there. It is a little distracting though, it's a lot of fun. They've taken away the practice time
Mm-hmm.
that we used to have. It used to be good to go down and the day before you could practice, take pictures, and all that stuff. But we don't have that anymore for some reason. I'm not sure. But that was always the time that the kids could just kind of relax and just enjoy being in the Superdome itself. But that's also a time to kind of get some of those jitters out, just being on that floor and under those lights and stuff like that. But now it's just you go out there, you warm up, and you play. So um, but I think that having played there the last 2 years, that certainly helps.
Yeah, I think and this is just speculation on my part, it's probably because the playoffs have expanded and the number of teams and number of games. Usually it's 5A through
Yeah,
1A. Now it's 8 games, 8 state champions
yeah,
between Division 1 through 4 from select and non select. So they got to
yeah,
try and squeeze a lot within three
yeah,
days.
absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys in Division Four non-select, part of the changes from your time. What's the most outside of not being able to practice on the Superdome turf? How much have you seen that building change from? And you said you were there as a freshman in '83, a state championship that you won in '84. What do you kind of recall about that moment and just seeing the building change through the decades?
We have been fortunate. I mean, I've been very fortunate to be in there. We've had some really good teams, but it, it's not that much different. It's just the experience goes by so fast, and that's what I always try to tell the kids. Like I mentioned a while ago, just slow it down and just enjoy it. But as far as the playing in the game, that hasn't changed a whole lot. I mean, it's just I mean, it's a great experience for the kids. That's what you always work for. That's what coaches work for. That's what everybody works for. So, you can't overlook the opportunity that you got to play in a game like that for sure.
And with Haynesville going down there a lot of times and coming away with a lot of wins, 17-time state champion, how much is the town packing up and getting ready for the experience to travel down I-49 and then eventually hit I-10 at some point to get down there to New Orleans? How much is the town looking forward to this experience again?
Well, honestly, they've probably been doing it a lot earlier than I would want them to, but how that is.
Right.
Um, the town, our town just they love this time of the year. And no matter where you go, the closer you get, if you keep winning, the more excited people get. And the town is just so excited now to to be able to to get an opportunity to play in this game. And there won't be a lot of people left in Haynesville on Thursday. And we're a small town. We've only got 135 kids in our school. 41 of them play football. So but a lot of these kids that play, they had an uncle or a brother or a father or whatever that played and had the opportunity, and they don't want to be the one to miss out, not being able to play in this game or win this game. So it's just, there's a lot of pressure on our kids, but at the same time, it's good, because they know what's expected of them, and just the opportunity to be able to play in it is it's a lot. It's fun.
A roster made up of players that play both ways. One that stands out, and you probably know where I'm going with this question, is Isaiah Washington, a player that had a lot of pressure on him, even in 7-on-7s in the summer. We were talking about at his signing with LSU. How has he navigated all the attention that's gone on him, not only as a leader on this team at quarterback and in the secondary, but being the LSU commit and the LSU signee?
He's handled it well. He's such a good kid and such a fun kid to coach and be around, but it's been a lot of pressure. Even till the last minute, there were people that were on him trying to get it. You know how that is. We don't always know about that pressure. We just see somebody that's signing with LSU, and you think, oh, that's great, but it's not. It's a lot. It's a big decision for him. It's a big decision for his family. So there was a lot of pressure, and I think after he signed the other day, that pressure was relieved a lot because he by far had his best game Friday night. So we're excited for him. Not that he's had bad games all year long, but he just seemed like he was so excited to be on the field Friday night, and he had a really good game. So we're hoping that he can duplicate that again this Friday.
And him including his teammates, his fellow senior class on his signing stage, wanting them to share that experience as well. How much is he maybe beloved in that locker room, and how much do players look up to him, not only the underclassmen, but his peers as well?
Our kids get along well. That's it can be tough, because everybody would like to do that, and we're going to have some more kids that are going to play somewhere, but they also realize that there's some people just some people have a little more talent than others do, but we've got all of our kids work so hard, and our seniors, I can't say enough about them that there's some kids that they just don't have the size or the ability to play, but that doesn't I made sure that I told them after his signing the other day that y'all are all important to what we do, and they are, and they're just really, they're hardworking football players. So we love and appreciate every one of them.
And looking at the actual game day experience, what's your plan and what's your scheduled time to get to the Superdome? Are you planning to get down to New Orleans a day before to give yourself a little bit more time to prepare? What's your next steps looking like for game week?
We'll leave out Wednesday morning, and kind of take our time going down. We'll go to Baton Rouge and get in a little practice, a little walkthrough practice that afternoon, and then travel on into New Orleans Wednesday night, and then you enter the dome at like 9:30, so it's there. I think one year we actually played at like 9 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
several years ago, so this is not quite as bad. But once you get in that Superdome, you kind of lose track of time. So I like the 12 o'clock because it's not the second game. Last year you're sitting there waiting. You don't know what time the game's going to start. You're waiting on that game in front of you to get through. So knowing exactly what your game time is going to be, I think we'll like that a little better.
Game day uniform. You have your outfit picked out? Where are we at on that right now?
I'm not gonna reveal that yet. We're gonna surprise some people.
All right, yeah, we're looking forward to
I
that.
don't think it matters though. It's obviously gonna be a dark uniform. Our kids, they don't care. They don't care. They just want to play.
Yeah, the All Blacks look good. I do want to say that the All Blacks look good. The All Whites look good as well. When you wear those with the black pants and the
Yeah,
piping, I do appreciate. I don't want to say simplistic, but the classic look of the Haynesville uniform.
absolutely,
Probably not getting
absolutely.
any Oregon influence on those Haynesville uniforms at all in the future. Keeping it pretty classic, right?
You know, Everybody has an opinion of something that a few years ago they all wanted us to get black helmets, and I'm like, I'll look at it. And then I had somebody come and say, "Come on, Coach Franklin," I said, "if you put that helmet up there, everybody in the state knows who that is." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. So no, we're not doing that."
Yeah,
So, everybody wants to change, and we got gray uniforms a few years ago, and then everybody's like, "Why come we can?" Anytime you get something, the former players are like, "Why come we didn't get that?" I'm like, "Well, it's because you were so good that we were able to get that."
right.
You always got to tell them something, but they try to get all in your business for sure.
Yeah. So a lot that you have to worry about. Do you have an opportunity to maybe look at other high school games to try and see what other teams are doing and view the experience as a fan or a spectator? Or is it all just Haynesville all the time? I really don't have the opportunity to look at what else is going on around the state.
You're talking about games in the Superdome?
Yeah, games in the Superdome, or just watching streams throughout the week to see what other teams in the area. We do have three other
Yes.
teams
I,
going down there. Yeah.
I honestly have no. I didn't even know who's even played in the area. It's been Mangum, Mangum, Mangum all this week, and that's what it's going to be. And I'm gonna. I do have a nephew that's playing for Sterlington. I would love to be able to watch him. I still may try to work that out, but I'm dedicated to my boys, and I'm probably going to ride the bus back with them. And I mean, I would love to be there for that game, but that's just feel like I need to be where I need to be with my boys.
Definitely, you have your priorities to worry about there in Haynesville. Coach, once again, I appreciate your time. We'll be wrapping up here in a second. But the folks at home that have traveled with your team, supported your program throughout the years, how important is it for your players to get that support when it's a point in the game where it's down and you guys are backs against the wall and your crowd can lift you up? How important is that support for these players on Friday nights and on game days?
Our fans are very supportive. I fortunately, we haven't been at that point this year, so that does concern me a little bit. I've been very concerned about the fact that we haven't played a lot of full games this year. When we played Homer in that second round, that was tough. Our kids were shot and we were cramping and we were, things that shouldn't be happening in week 12. That's where we were at. But I knew that was going to happen. But we have played we played some full games here lately, so that's had to. That's really good and that's big. But just the support of our fans. They're very supportive in all that they do. So we're hoping to bring that trophy back this time. A little something different.
Well, Coach, we wish you well. Noon kickoff against Mangum Thursday in the Superdome. We wish you well, the Golden Tornado and Mangum, the Dragons, if I recall correctly. We'll have
Correct.
highlights for the folks back at home. And Coach, looking forward to seeing you down there in the Big Easy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. So just for the folks at home, we're going to be wrapping up here in a second. The other teams that we have in the Superdome from Northwest Louisiana, also a Thursday game, 7 p.m. Calvary facing Dunham. That's a 7 o'clock tentative kickoff for the Cavaliers. Friday, North DeSoto leading things off, a noon kickoff against Iowa, Division II non-select, Calvary and Division III select. And then the Saturday, another nooner, Ruston and Ouachita Parish, Division I non-select. The Bearcats trying to win another state title under Jared Baugh. Northwest Louisiana, the center of attention for state championships. A lot of teams going down there. We wish them well. Thank you for watching and listening to the Benchwarmers. I'm Daniel Brown. We'll see you next week.